so she's hoping to release it later this year. Similar to Kelsey Bovey, her songs have a message and vulnerability in their lyrical content that far surpasses her years. Her songs are ballsy, honest slices of life. They're frank, unflinching, but as you'll hear her say, never romantic. She's a prolific touring artist, and during her time on the road she supported such brilliant acts as Wildwood Kin and Seth Lakeman. Just to give you a potential trigger warning, Harriet does talk about the sad loss of her mum due to illness at a young age towards the back of this interview, so please do bear that in mind if this subject matter is likely to affect you. This conversation is honest and in some elements raw. So here we go, my conversation with the brilliant Harriet Rose. So I have Harriet Rose on the line. Harriet, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm all right. It's one of them at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how are you? Let's get the question out of the way. How are you finding the quarantine situation at the moment creatively?
Do you know, it's a bit up and down. When it first started, I was horrendous, really. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't leave the house at all for about 5 weeks before I even went to the shop. So I was struggling a little bit, and I do have anxiety, so that didn't help.
Yeah.
But I think I'm a little bit better. There are days when it hits a bit harder and I'm like, oh, everything's gone, you know, even when this goes back to normal, it won't be normal. But I think I'm coping.
Good. 5 weeks. Wow. But you're getting better. Obviously, things are changing at the moment, aren't they? So
yeah.
Bit more light at the end of the tunnel. But you've been pretty prolific in terms of doing live streams, especially in the last couple of weeks, haven't you? Have you found that's helping?
Oh, no, definitely, yeah. I mean, I love to keep busy. So the live streams have been a wonderful way to spend my time and just connect with more people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because I feel like I've managed to meet and introduce myself to more people via the live streams than I probably would have ever done if I was just normally gigging.
So it's people are able to speak to you and interact with you a bit more, although it's not face to face. I suppose if you do it quite regular, it builds up sort of a familiarity as well, doesn't it? Yeah,
no, definitely.
Perfect. You put together a festival recently as well, didn't you? Talk to me a bit about that.
Oh, yeah. So the charity I work for, it was the Emmy Awareness Week, and I just wanted to do something a little bit different and fun. And obviously, I'm in the music scene, so I thought, why not try and do a festival? It was a lot more stressful than I thought, I have to say. And I have a newfound appreciation for gig organisers and festival organisers. But no, I think it was good. I think it worked. So
for anyone that's not heard your sound before, and is hopefully going to go and listen to you after this, how would you describe what you do?
You know, I still find this really difficult. I wouldn't put myself entirely in the country category. I would say there's quite an Americana influence in there as well. So probably a mix of both. And yeah, my songs are a little bit sassy, but they are pretty much truthful. So it's just a reflection of me, I guess, in my music.
So you've been recording your debut EP, which I believe you recorded in Scarborough at Beckview Studio.
Yes, yeah.
So firstly, how's that gone? And what's the situation with the release at the moment? Because I assume you've put things on hold for the moment, have you?
Yeah, so the recording initially was really good, but there was still quite a little bit I wanted to do on it in terms of backing vocals and things like that. So I haven't been able to get into the studio to finish that part of it. So originally I did want it to be out in April, and then I said May, thinking, this will all blow over, it's fine. But now, we are just kind of a standstill, unfortunately. And we've no date in sight until things start to open up a little bit.
Oh, okay. So one of them. Yeah. You're not the only person in that situation. So how many tracks are on the EP? Have you decided that?
Yeah, so there'll be 5 songs on there.
Nice.
And I've kind of done myself over a little bit, because in certain live streams I've been like, this song's on the EP, but now I don't know what I haven't said. And I did want an element of surprise in there. So I'm not going to list them all just yet.
You think you've probably drip fed most of the track listing out? Have to go through all your live streams and watch them and put it all
Oh, yeah,
together.
and took them off. I said, yeah. We're going to take that one.
Was that the first time you've recorded in a studio then?
I've done a little bit before, but it was just me, myself.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different. It's because I went in and all these musicians were there, these professional musicians, and they had listened to the songs and they were like, yeah, we know what we're doing. So it was a bit intimidating to be in that kind of situation.
Be like
it was really cool at the same time.
First time you're like, I suppose you're the centre of attention in that situation, aren't you? The main attraction.
Yeah, and everyone kept going, is this all right? And I was, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just happy you're here.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So how did you put together the band? Was that done for you, or talk to me a bit about that?
Yeah, so that was done for me. I just turned up and they were all there. They're like session musicians that work with the studio. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah,
nice. And you're happy
really
with...
different.
Is it? But
yeah.
Good different? Different.
Different. It's not necessarily a good and a bad thing. It's just something I think I had to adjust to, because I'd never heard any of my songs played so full before.
Yeah.
So it was like this, the first time everything sounded amazing, and then you sit back and go, well, actually, I could probably hear that a bit different, and taking the time to break it down again and get over the initial like, wow, this is insane, this is everything I've ever wanted.
So when you went in, did you know the sound? Did you have an idea of what the full band thing would sound like, or did you hand some of that responsibility over? Or
in my head, I knew where I wanted it to go and the direction of certain songs. But it was kind of my responsibility to say to someone, I want the guitar to be like, I couldn't play it. I could only talk it through. So they kind of had their own way of doing it and their own bit of inspiration, I guess. And then just my direction in the background, pointing them somewhere where it needed to go.
So did you have a whole bunch of songs going into the studio that you had to whittle down, or did you always have a...
Yeah, I think I sent over about 15, and then there were a few favourites, and then I just cut them down, and it was a long process. I was stuck on the 5th one for a really long time, going back and forth between 3 songs, but we got there in the end.
Good. So you've been gigging for about 5 years or so. Has that always been country, or is that something that's sort of moulded, sort of changed over the last couple of years? What's the situation been there?
It's interesting. When I first started gigging, I was part of a punk band, so it was a bit different, very different. Yeah. And in the background, I did my own stuff, and my first couple of songs were country, a little bit folky, and they've always had that influence. I mean, I'd say the person that inspired me most to write was Taylor Swift, which is a little bit generic, but you're truthful, I guess. And that's always been in there. And I guess I just had this opinion of myself that I couldn't be country because I didn't have the twang. Growing up through it, I wasn't told, actually, no, that's completely normal. Country isn't just the voice and things like that. Country means so much more. And as I've got a little bit older and gone across to the States and come back, it's just solidified that I can be country and Americana, and you don't have to have the voice, but there is so many other ways of making country music, and it's just what country is to a certain person, I guess.
Have you found that you've been more successful or had a more welcoming open arms since you've moved over to country?
That's a good question. I'd say so. For good and bad reasons, actually. I think with women in music and guitars, because before I kind of did a little bit more in the indie scene. Fought my way through the indie scene, and it was seen as a novelty, a woman with a guitar in the indie scene, what's going on here? And then the country scene, it fits, and it's what you would expect a woman to do, I guess. Yeah. So there's an understanding and an openness, and this is it. Which is a shame because women can do so much more in music. And it isn't a novelty, but I guess it is more open and accepting.
I suppose you've got a different level of competition in the UK, and the fact that there does seem to be an abundance of women country musicians compared to men, especially on the UK scene. There seems to be loads more.
Yeah, it's like the flip side. Well, it's not the flip side. It's the way the radio club pushes it in America, I guess.
Yeah.
Etc. But yeah.
Perfect. Cool. So before we got into this weird situation, you had a busy year last year, didn't you, in terms of gigging? So you put together like, was it over 100 dates for a tour? Wait, are you crazy?
No, so throughout the year I did still over 130, and then towards the back end of the year, the end of September, October, November, I did over a 30-date tour, which I just organised myself and I went for it, basically.
How would you even go putting something like that together?
It took a lot of time. It was a lot of emails, a lot of nagging, phone calls, and just knowing that I needed to do it because I was working at the same time.
Yeah.
I started my job last January, and I mean, I don't know how to say this and not be offensive, but I quickly realised, God, this isn't what I want to do. I can't do this. I need to do music. Like, I can't stand this. So if I don't throw everything at music, it's not going to happen, basically. So yeah, I just gigged and travelled as much as I could and played to as many people as I could.
Did you get across the country, or because of work, do you have to keep it quite northern based, or?
No, so I was here, there, and everywhere. So I went up to Newcastle, Durham, did that, came back down, and did a couple in London as well. So it was very hectic and tiring, but I would do it again in a heartbeat if I could right now.
So is the plan, once things are settled, to go out with a band?
It was the plan originally. So I wanted to do the EP, then get the full band with me, and then I was looking about October, November this year to be touring again, but with a band this time. I want to say it's going to happen, but I'll see. I would love it to happen.
I'd be grateful if we could just stand in a room with someone playing a guitar at the moment. So do you have a standout live show? Is there one that you think, wow, I smashed that?
Gosh, sometimes it's really different. So I did one last year, and it was the Great British Folk Festival.
Oh yeah.
And I absolutely loved that one. And I don't. It's weird. It's just a feeling you get when you come off and you're like that. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was really good. And you've done well, because sometimes there can be really good gigs, but if you've not done well and you come off and you know it, then I'll be in a mood. but yeah,
brilliant.
That's probably like the one that comes to mind. Yeah, I run with that one.
What do you deem a good gig then? Does it need to be the audience, or can it just be how you've performed? Or is it a mix? Yeah,
I'd say it's a mix. Obviously, I want the audience to be vibing it and enjoying it, and enjoying what they're listening to and relating to it. But I'm quite hard on myself. It's really frustrating for anyone that knows me. So regardless of if everybody else has enjoyed it, if I come off and I know I've messed something up, then I'll probably be a bit down.
It's quite critical.
Yeah, very.
I don't think you're alone in that. From people I spoke to, don't worry.
No, I think it's just a creative person thing.
Yeah.
We're probably never happy, which is why we keep striving.
Yeah, it comes with determination, doesn't it? I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So let's talk about songwriting. Do you have a songwriting process?
I have a couple of ways. The main way normally is I'll just be feeling something, and I pick up my guitar and start twiddling something, and then the lyrics just flow, and I lock myself in my room, and then an hour later I'll be like, that's it. Or if there's something specific I want to write about, like a line that maybe somebody said something, and I'll hold on to that, and then I'll create the song around what's been said or what I've gone through. But it's normally lyric ideas, and then something will fit underneath with the guitar.
So you're not someone that sits down and thinks, right, I'm going to write?
Not really. When I've done that, I'll write something and then an hour later listen to it and just be like, that's rubbish. That's going in the bin.